Jonathan Edwards is here to take up the coverage again. Jonathan, you're welcome.
Many thanks for that introduction, and I'd like to begin by thanking you all for attending this meeting this evening, and for asking me to speak to Stop the War Coalition, especially in such esteemed company as some of the campaigners and colleagues on the podium this evening. Compared to some of you here, I'm a comparative newbie, elected this summer as the MP for Carmarthen East and Dynevor in West Wales. But you will be very familiar with the party I represent, and my predecessor, of course, as Jeremy said, Mr. Adam Price. Adam, as you may remember, is the Member of Parliament who launched the campaign to impeach Tony Blair over his lies to Parliament in justifying the Iraq War, an imperial war over oil that killed hundreds of thousands of innocent people in that country. And I'd like to claim a bit of credit for the impeachment campaign, because I actually bought Adam the book which gave it the idea. It's a book by Matthew Parrish named Great Parliamentary Standards, and I was working for Adam at the time. It was meant to keep him on the straight and narrow when he got down here to Westminster. And obviously in reading the book he read about the impeachment of Lord Palmerston in the 19th century, and thought it would be a good idea to try and use that parliamentary procedure to impeach Tony Blair. My party, of course, is Plaid Cymru, the Party of Wales. And we have a very strong pacifist tradition in the party, and one of our central defence policies is the creation of a peace academy. But even amongst those who are not strict pacifists such as myself, there is a strong belief in international law. We were a party that voted against the incursion into Iraq, and a party that as far back as 2001 was unanimous in our concern about the consequences of our involvement in Afghanistan. And who would have thought 10 years later we'll still be debating those issues? Our 4 MPs being a quarter of those registering their doubts that very first vote. And for their troubles, they got a full page in the Sun calling them wobblers and inviting people to phone them. It has been clear to myself and my party that the continued changing nature of the war in Afghanistan puts everybody at risk. A war fought with no realistic time frame, no clear-cut conditions that define victory or defeat, is a war without end. And if my sums are correct, it's costing us £300,000 an hour to fight that war in Afghanistan at a time when there are, as many speakers have already mentioned, there will be massive public sector cuts coming in the comprehensive spending review. Yet that is where we are, with spin doctors regularly changing our objectives to make it look as if the surges and incursions are being successful in changing the hearts and minds of Afghans or winning the war on the ground. And clearly neither of those is true. My party has long called for withdrawal of our troops from Afghanistan from this unwinnable war. And if my history lessons remind me correct, this is the 4th time the British state has been involved in wars in Afghanistan, and each time we've come back with our tails between our legs. A standpoint of which I'm sure everybody here agrees with us, and as Caroline was saying there'll be a number of amendments down for the debate tomorrow making the case in terms of withdrawal. But these are not just wars fought thousands of miles from home. They impact upon us here as well. In my own constituency, I've expressed concern about the testing of unmanned drones making flights above Welsh airspace. Indeed, there is now a land corridor covering the northern half of my constituency where drones are tested, taking high-resolution photographs of the subjective population below, and it's just been driven through by the Ministry of Defence and most of the pity might go to the Welsh Government. And of course we've got the decisions coming now about the Strategic Defence and Security Review, which will be of great importance in defining our future foreign policy. As this review takes place, it is important that we send a clear message to the new UK Government that these imperial wars were not fought in our name, should be brought to a conclusion as soon as possible, and that we should never again enter into such alliances without the full support of our international partners around the world and international law. Thank you.